Okay, now is it working? Plug this back in. Okay. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, it's working. So, hi. Hello and welcome to Sunday Night by Lamplight. I'm Brenda Brewer, and we can tell this off. Okay, I don't need to be doing that. I hope I didn't just lose my Instagram feed, but this is my first time with StreamYard, so we'll see what happens. So, I hope that you're doing well. Whatever it is that you plan on doing for the New Year's Eve, please be safe. Not really even quite sure if I'm going to be doing anything or not after this. I might. You never know. I might just change my mind and go. I'm right here in Manhattan, so all I have to do is walk out the door and do something. It's one of the things I love about living here. But what I want to talk to you guys about is something that's been bothering me, and that bothers me a lot, about people allowing things that other people have done to them to stop them from doing things or but being open to love for love. So why does this, why should we allow people who have, you know, disappointed us, we think that they've hurt us, when really what that means is that we were engaging with someone that probably for longer than we should have, that wasn't giving us the relationship that we want. But we do this. Why do we do this? We do this because it feels familiar. So I just want to check something real quick. Yeah, audio is working. Because it feels familiar. And why does it feel familiar? What does that mean? It means that somewhere in our past, usually starting in our childhood, and then we repeat the experience of not getting our emotional needs met. And then we meet someone, we feel an attraction, and we feel an emotional pull toward the person, and we think that means we're falling in love. But usually that's not really what's happening. And it doesn't mean that you can't love someone that's happening with. But more often than not, it really isn't love. And how do you know? You know by the way that you feel. Because if you feel bad and if you're in pain, then that's not love. So but we continue to do this. Got some hot chocolate here. Just plain hot chocolate. And we continue to try and get love from someone who is not going to actually give us love. And then we stay in it too long because we don't know any better, because we haven't been taught. And then we end up heartbroken. And then, to add insult to injury, we then form a belief that there are no good men, that uh, getting involved, opening our heart is too risky, or sometimes we're like, I'm never doing that again. Um, the whole litany of beliefs that we can begin to form. Recently, someone said, I'm anti-men right now. And that's just not fair. That's not fair to you. And that's not fair to all the innocent men out there that, because the mindset is still in that, where it was with that person who wasn't giving us what we want, to where we're trying to get it from them, basically, which is why we keep staying in it. So we're just taking that mindset, and now we're looking at the whole world through that. And so when you stop and think about it, and you just kind of take a step back, it doesn't make any logical sense. Doesn't make any logical sense at all. There's billions of men on the planet. There's millions here in this country. There's millions of men in Europe. I'm going to be talking about one of my former clients that met someone in Prague after I helped her get away from a severe asshole, a guy that was never going to give her what she wanted. And it took about a year for her to see, finally, that she was never going to get the love that she wanted from that guy. And after that whole year, she was a mess because he did a number on her self-esteem. All of the trying that she was doing to try and make things work out just was pushing him away and pushing him away, because he really wasn't interested. And to top it all off, she was going through cancer. And he didn't even want to support her through it. And I was just going, "Oh my God, like this is this is one of the worst things I've ever heard." And but why? So why would anyone do that? She's not alone in that. It's almost every single woman that I work with has gone through a situation like this, and I went through a situation like that too. Because there's something in the situation that triggers our past to where we didn't get our emotional needs met, and we're like, "Oh, here it is. Here's the situation. I have to resolve it. I have to make this work." When it's never going to work. And so it's just and it's very, very, very hard to get out of by yourself. So that's why, when I realized that I had put my happiness on the back burner for a number of years. For a number of years, because I had formed beliefs about, you know, men in general. You know, I really got to a point where I thought men were stupid. And that's just not fair. That's not fair to me to call a whole group of other people stupid. And it's not fair to men. Because I know a lot of very, very nice men. So so, but until we can have someone help us shift our vibration, our vibe into our feminine energy, we're going to continue to try and figure it all out from our head. And that's the problem. Because the past only exists in our head. The past only exists in our head. The past is the only thing that exists is in the present moment. So luckily for me, I found a feminine energy expert, Rory Ray. I became a client. I started learning about feminine energy and how that was really the problem, that I had been in my masculine energy for most of my life, like most of us, competing with men, not trusting any, and the more and more and more and more that you do it, the more and more you lose touch with it. So it could just get worse and worse and worse as life goes on. And that's kind of what happens. We just keep practicing being in our masculine energy so much that we totally lose touch with our feminine energy. And then we don't understand why we're not fulfilled, we're wiped out, as feminine energy women, as feminine women. And we do need our masculine energy, but we have been taught how to use it in the wrong way. So then we're not fulfilled, we're exhausted. We don't make decisions based on our heart's desires because we don't even know what they are anymore. We don't believe in them. But I'm here to tell you today that our heart's desires are the solution. And there's a process. There's several pillars that I went through, and that I found the really missing piece for myself that completely changed the game for me. And that is forgiveness. Forgiveness in the way that is taught by the Toltecs. Are you familiar with the book, The Four Agreements? Well, the son ended up writing a book after called Mastery of Self. And in that book, he lays out the forgiveness process, that some things are really, really hard to forgive. And I understand that because I was in that position for a long time. I couldn't forgive because I felt in my heart like this is just unforgivable. I can't forgive. And even the way that the Buddhists talk about it was like, not forgiving is like holding on to a hot stone in your hand. Like, that didn't mean anything to me. I'm like, I'm gonna hang on to this, I don't care because I can't. This is unforgivable, livable what this man has done. And so we all know logically, and we've heard that forgiveness is for us. But what I love about the way the Toltecs teach it is that when you understand how to do it in a way, it transforms you and your emotional intelligence. So once you start seeing it from that vantage point, you're not going to do something to yourself that's going to lower your EI, yeah, emotional intelligence, your EI. When you start understanding that how you engage with life and from your feminine energy and your emotional intelligence, then you really start to understand the value of learning this forgiveness process. So now that is part of the pillars that I take people through, and it's not easy. It's very hard to do by yourself. Excuse me. So, after we begin the forgiveness process and start to you get to the point where you just accept, like, you know what? Yeah, this really needs to be done to move forward. This really, really, really does. And that's just the first step. You accept it. It's a process. So then once you start engaging with others and hopefully start engaging with men again, you're going to start to get triggered because it's a process. So things will happen in the communication process and you will start to get triggered. And that's when having a guide there to help be like, okay, we learn these communication skills and we're still working on that forgiveness process because we're going to get triggered, get not maybe get angry, but more like get judgmental. And that's when it's really, really, really helpful to have a guide there to then start helping you understand how men think and why they do the things that they do, because they're different than us in many ways. And if you don't understand these differences, you're going to get super triggered, and that's going to trigger your lack of forgiveness. And that's why when women are engaging, with, or they're trying online dating or whatever, and they're doing it alone, and they've had a lot of failed. That's one of the reasons it sucks so bad, because it keeps triggering all your shit, on all the stuff that you're angry about, all the stuff that happened in the past. So working through this forgiveness process while learning how men think, learning how to be in your feminine energy, and learning how to speak to men It all works together. And you keep practicing, and you get better, and you get better, and you get better at it. Because, I wish I could say I have no regrets in life, but I do regret 10 years of just like, you know what, I'm done. I regret that. I didn't get to have a family. I luckily I already have a son from first marriage, if you can call it that. Horrible relationship. So, but I didn't get to have, the more children like I wanted to. And when I do regret it. So now I want to help you not have regrets. Because even if it's not children that you want, when we're wired to be in relationship with each other. We're wired. We evolved to survive together. So there's one thing it's one thing to find happiness and acceptance while you're single. Of course you want to be happy no matter what. Than to try and convince yourself that you really don't ever want a relationship again. Now, maybe there are some people that truly don't. But I'm speaking to those of you who, that little voice inside. Why does it hurt so much? It hurts so much because we cared so much and because we wanted it so much. So I want to, and I am with her permission, one of my former clients, Drea. I want to show you a picture of her. So she's the one I was talking about a little while ago that was dating this guy that was just not good to her. Oh my God. It was very upsetting. Very upsetting. And she finally got away from him, and she had to, whoops. Oh. She had to go on antidepressants. So I don't know if I'm I don't know what's happening, but I'm gonna bring Angela on, another former client who is now a coach, and she knows Drea. So I introduced them.
Hi.
So let me see. This is still happening.
Yeah. Show Andreas.
Yeah. So, hi, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Almost.
Yeah. I have this I introduced you and Drea because I was working with both of you at the same time.
Yeah.
And so you guys could support each other because you both were with guys that weren't giving you the relationship that you wanted,
Correct.
like I was before I got help. And I mean, it broke my heart in both situations. In her situation, she was going through cancer.
Oh my gosh. I know.
And but she ended up getting away from him. And I think there's while I'm looking for this picture, say hi.
Hi, everybody. I work with Brenda, and she's just awesome. And she really helped me work through a lot of my trials and tribulations that I had when I was really wanting this relationship that I was in to work. And, try as I did, it just was not working. And Brenda was there to hold my hand and to sit with me through uh, all those times that I was really desperate for help. And there were some things that I changed that did work, but I think ultimately sometimes, sometimes you're just not with the right person. Even if you want it to work out, sometimes it just that's the hardest thing I think I've
Well, yeah, if they're not be treating you well and they're fucking with your head and they're because you guys were both you guys were both going through that.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
and if you're not happy, then something's wrong.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't listening to my intuition that was telling me, yeah, something isn't wrong, and every time I try to bring up something, it doesn't get, remedied, and I just constantly felt on edge and, like I wasn't seen or heard and listened to, and, um, there was a time that I had been from this person, so I was clinging to that, but, there's gotta be a time where if you're continually they're, like, showing you who they are and you're not listening to that, then you're gonna go crazy, which is what I did.
Yeah, and it takes time to heal. It really does.
One
And
finally, even I mean, I left, what, a year and a half ago, and I'm still think about that person all the time, but I'm definitely way more happier not
and
being
you sound better, like every time I talk to you, you sound a little like you more insightful because you're not just healing that relationship, you're healing all the past shit that it
Oh, yeah.
triggered
No,
too.
definitely. I really had to work on healing my nervous system and
Yeah.
just my self-belief, my limiting self-beliefs of things of how I act in relationship and not judging myself and not hearing that person's voice all the times that they told me I wasn't doing things right. It's like, shut up, like I'm listening to myself now and going, "Hey, I'm awesome. This is cool. Like I wasn't doing anything wrong. Just just needed to work on a few things just like everybody does and that's totally okay." So
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know if you heard what I was saying, but I now use a forgiveness process.
I heard you talk about the Toltec and the 4 agreements. I definitely follow that, like, not taking things personally, not assuming things. What's the other ones? Like, what's the 4? I know, intention, your
Do your
word.
best.
Yeah, do your
Just do your
best.
best.
Mm,
So the son wrote another book after that. The son.
mhm.
It's called Mastery of Self,
Yeah,
and in that,
I think that's on my wish list. I think I've seen
yeah, so in that is where because I always struggled with forgiveness from what I went through with my son's father who had was very abusive on every single level, sexually, mentally, just everything. It was he's a very very messed up person, and I couldn't forgive him my whole life, and I didn't want and a lot of people were like, I wouldn't forgive him either.
it.
Like,
Do
but
you
the
feel
thing
now that you've worked on forgiving yourself? Is that why you're
No, because
no?
I was only 13 when it started with him, so
Yeah,
I really did not blame myself. I
yeah,
was a child,
yeah,
but what I learned from the Toltec thing is that what they're doing in mastery of self is is evolving your emotional intelligence. We're evolving. We are evolving. I mean, we should be evolving in our
yeah,
lives. And if we can't forgive, then we can't evolve.
correct.
So when you look at it that way, then you start to learn to gently be okay, okay. And you start very, very small. You're like, you first you just accept what I just said that, oh, you know what? I'm really not gonna be able to really evolve spiritually if I don't forgive. My
Yeah,
emotional intelligence is not gonna be where it can go. And then slowly through the process, and then like triggers are going to come up, and that's why it's helpful to have a guide there to help you, because then the triggers come up and then all the shit then it comes up again, and then but it's a little bit less every time.
Yeah.
as
Yeah,
you go
because the
through.
more that you confront it, the more you are brave and you're seeing like, okay, I can do this. And then each
Yes.
step you're like, okay, I didn't die after that last time I went through this. So I'm good. Like I can do this.
Yeah, and so part of it, and part of the emotional intelligence that it gets generated and evolves and stuff is that, well, for one thing, okay, this is not about all men. It's about one person who is, and as also the Toltecs say, he's in his dream or whatever, and he's dealing with all the shit that he's always had to deal with. It doesn't condone whatever he did, but it's
Oh,
understanding that he's not conscious.
yeah. Agreed.
And so, and then don't let, so certainly not something an unconscious person did. Don't let that limit me. That's not going to limit me.
Correct. It's a good thing to hold on to for sure.
Yeah, and so that's part of the process. So you just keep kind of revisiting that as you go through, the rest of it. And so then part of the process is going back to your feminine energy, and then getting out of your head and into your body, and then remembering. And now this process that I do is everything that you wanted first with that person that didn't work out, write it all down. The stuff that you wanted. I mean, he
Yeah.
gave you a ring, you wanted marriage,
Yeah.
all that stuff that you wanted, write it down, and then you just kind of like cross him off of it. And now those desires are free to flow towards a man that
Yeah.
will give it to you.
Yeah, you're energetically, putting that out into the universe like this is what I want, but I'm not attaching it to this one person that you wanted to have things with, because I did want to have things with that person, but
That's right.
my experience was different than yours where I blamed myself for the things, but obviously it's totally different and I wasn't a child. So, but yeah, that's what I've been working on, is forgiving myself for staying in situations and relationships that didn't serve me, because, I was so hopeful that someone might change or that I would change, or, there was just so much pressure on both sides, putting it on myself and that person putting it on me. So it was like a double whammy.
Yeah, and that's just it's just really you attracted what you had before, feel, and not getting your needs met, and probably people, and you feeling like things were your fault on some level before.
Yeah.
That's why you're feeling it again, and it's just none of it's true. It's just like, okay, that's just a mirror of what was going on inside my consciousness, and I get to create a new story now.
Correct. Yeah, I am.
And
For
evolve
sure.
that emotional intelligence.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm happy being single right now. It's like, yeah, I do want to be in a relationship in the future sometime, but I'm not holding on to that energy of like, oh, I have to be like, I know it will happen. It
No.
will happen. So,
Yeah, and I was just saying
being
that
open.
too. Yeah, I was just saying that too. Like, obviously be happy while you're single, and
Yeah,
do whatever, do
I think
everything.
that's the ticket for sure. If you can be in your own company and be happy, like it's okay if that date didn't go great or that person breaks up with you, then you're like, okay, cool. I'm
Yeah.
ready now still for the person that does want to be in my life, that does want to be here. Um, and that's where the magic is,
Yeah.
because if you're holding on to that relationship because you're too afraid to be alone, then it's never going to work out.
No, no, no. And so after that, now what I do is, for the women that are meeting men, when things don't go right, we write out what happened, how it made her feel, and then we set a new boundary, because sometimes it just, things are happening really fast. You don't, it's hard to like gauge
Mhm.
when you're, but but if something goes that makes you feel bad, you fix it right away. Either you get away from him, or you communicate with him, or whatever, and then you add that to your list of boundaries. So
Mhm.
then once you've got it down, that is now a boundary that you never cross.
Correct. Yeah. Holding yourself to that boundary is so important because then you're respecting yourself, and you can recognize easier when someone else is disrespecting you because you're like, I don't do that to myself. I'm not going to let anyone else do that to me too.
No. And so eventually you get to a point where you meet your match,
Yeah.
because you're just like, okay, boundary, you're sifting through all this stuff, and then suddenly you meet up with someone that loves you and respects you and adores you for you.
Yeah, and I feel like the more that you do hold those boundaries strong and close to your heart, I like to say, the more no's that you put to people, like if you go on your dating and you're in the dating world, and the more you're like, no, this person, next, 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 like you're getting closer to your yes, because you're
Yes.
like, okay, this is not really what I want. Maybe they're great, maybe you're really attracted to them, but there's just that little like, uh, if you're feeling that little like move on.
Yeah.
Especially if you communicate it and it's something that maybe could be worked on and they're not
Yeah.
willing
Next.
to engage with you, then yeah. I had
Yeah.
that happen. I literally went on a tried to go on a date 2 days ago on Friday night, and he was communicating with me, but he basically stood me up, and I was just like he's like, "I'm so sorry," and I was just like, "I'm here." And I walked into the bar. He's like, "Hey, meet me here in 20 minutes." I was like, "Okay." It wasn't like a set in stone kind of date, but like I felt good. We had communicated pretty well, and I felt pretty trusting of this person. And I go in and he's like, "Well, I'm saw someone here and I'm trying to get rid of her." I'm like, "What do you mean get rid of her? Like that doesn't what? Like
I
why
don't
would
want
you?"
to hear that.
Yeah. And I'm like, "Okay." And I said, "You know what? I'm going to go to this bar up the road and I'm going to have a drink and get myself some food. And if you want to come meet me there, cool. If not, I'll see you later." And then yeah, he didn't show up. He's like, "I'm so sorry." And I'm like, "I don't know what's going on here, but like I'm not about this." I go, "I'm leaving." And yeah, the next day he tried to talk to me. And I was like, "I don't want to hear your excuses." And then he tried to play the victim. He's like, "I was drugged." And I was like, "You're a
What?
child." I was like, "I gotta go." Yeah, it was really weird. I was like, "Yeah, I go, we both had an experience that wasn't great." And he's like, "How can you say that? Like, I was the one that was like, had a bad night." And I'm like, "Okay." He's like, "I don't want to talk about this anymore." I go, "Yeah, I don't even know you. If you're already not wanting to talk to me about something that happened between us, then I'm not into this." I'm like, "I'm out." So it's just like little things like that. Like he was super hot, super fun. Like he wrote me poetry and was just like all hot for me. But I was just like, I don't know what's going on.
Inconsistent.
Yeah, I was super confused. I was like, I don't know what's going on with you, but like I don't have time for this. Like
Yeah.
I'd want to go have fun by myself rather than deal with this stuff. So but yeah, just those little things. I could have been in the past, I would have been like, "Oh, but he's so cute and he likes me and you know,
Yeah.
he writes
Now you're more in
poetry."
touch
So
with
I'm
what
like
you're feeling.
I was like, "Cool, he wrote me a couple poems. I like it, but it's not enough to keep me hanging on." So, yeah.
That's real progress. It
I
really
think
is.
so.
Oh, it really is, because you're not
Oh,
like, you're not in your head like,
yeah.
what's going on, or I whatever, you're like, I don't, this doesn't feel good.
Yeah. I wasn't like, "Oh, it's because of me and I'm not cute enough," or something like that. Like, I would have thought that maybe, 5, 10 years ago. Now I'm like, "No, this has nothing to do with me and everything
No.
with him." So,
No. No.
and I like that it's trust me, people, whoever's watching, like, this has taken me a long time to get to this headspace because I used to be more of that, like, "Oh, I'm doing something wrong. It's because I'm not communicating well enough," or "I'm not cute enough." All those things you tell yourself, and working with Brenda and doing some of the work like she has been doing has really transformed me because it's such a load off, right? It's so like freeing because you're not like having that burdensome like inner process of telling yourself how you're not good enough. Like it's not usually about you. It's just other people have their own stuff too. And if they're not super aware, then they're gonna lay it on you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because they're in the dream. They're in their dream.
yeah, it's hard.
And
Fantasy is nice, but
yeah.
it
So
isn't
I
real.
mean, it's nice to see that, so you're doing hair again and hanging out with all these new girlfriends and stuff
Yeah.
and all that stuff. And so I wanted to say, so when Drea finally she got away from him or whatever, she had to go on antidepressants and then she started just doing all kinds of things that she had always wanted to do.
Mhm.
And she acted in a play and she did all this stuff
Yeah.
and she
All
was
her
just she
skateboarding
was
videos and
yeah, she was just doing everything that she wanted to do. And then she took a trip to Prague.
I
She
know.
met this guy.
Oh my god, he's so cute.
He is
I was like,
hot.
"What, girl?" It's like, "You
Oh
got
my god. I'm just like and I'm just thinking because and she's so beautiful. I mean, you both are. And just
That's
and honestly, the guys you each were seeing, no, they
yeah.
are not. They they are not up to your no. This guy is, and I know you're gonna meet yours too. And because he takes care of himself.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of it.
Yeah.
And let me see here. Let me get the picture. Uh,
So did she meet him and then go there, or did she go on a vacation and then, like, met him just
no, she met him
that's what I
there.
don't know. Oh, okay. Wow.
And
I
I don't
didn't know if they
know.
met, like, online and then, she went and visited him. That's really cool.
Yeah. So, oh, I don't know.
I know that's how it's gonna happen for me, just, like, meet some person randomly.
Yeah. Let me see. All right, maybe I'll do it this way. Um, doo-doo-doo-doo, because I can't. There. Okay, so here it is.
You got a picture?
I'm just gonna
Did you freeze?
see today.
You froze up a bit.
Hold on a second. Doo doo doo.
Oh, there we go.
Let's see. Also share, cancel, share. What is this? Oh, window. Okay, entire screen. Let's do that. Share. Oh, has lost permission. There's got to be an easier way. No.
Ooh, what happened to the giant?
Oh, I got lipstick on my teeth. Let me see. Oh man.
Well, I'm so happy for her. I think that's awesome.
I am too. I mean, I'm over the moon every time I see them.
It just goes to show that, when you are feeling all of that anxiety and stress and, you're in this relationship and you want it to work so hard that sometimes just trying and trying and trying, it makes it worse. You hear these stories of people just, consciously just saying, hey, you know what, this isn't working. And then maybe 6 months later, if they've done the work on themselves, they can come together, but not always, but it just depends. And I think that's pretty cool. I had a test happened this year where my ex did come back into my life, and I did not pass that test of, like, not, um
Well, you did eventually.
well, yeah, we kind of got we reconnected, but I told him what I wanted, and initially he said yes, and then later maybe some things changed, and he was just like a no, and I was like, so I do feel like it is a test that I didn't pass because looking back, I feel like I should have just not communicated with that person anymore and been like, no, there's a reason why I left. Um, because it did make it kind of harder. I kind of put my hope and faith back in that person again, and
Yeah.
did not I kept my heart open. I'm just that person where I just like will open my heart and like trust until I get stepped all over. And so that's what I'm kind of working on now is like, okay, following the process of, keeping my heart open, keeping in my feminine energy and not hiding that away to protect myself because those are what those boundaries are there for, right? You can be open and free until one of your boundaries is crossed and be like, okay, I recognize this so easier now. Like, okay, I've been through this. I know what it feels like in my body now. So
Yes, and that's what makes
that's
all
the
the
learning,
difference.
right? Yeah, I remember you sitting with me and getting me back into that space. And it's very helpful. But a lot of people are really scared to do it because it is scary. People don't know how to be in their feelings and they don't want to go inside their body and be like, oh, it's nerve-wracking. And you do need someone there to help you because otherwise you're gonna scare yourself and maybe quit. So because if
Yeah.
you don't know what you're supposed to do, then you don't stick with it. So it's helped to have a guide there to know what's going on and to walk you through it in a kind and safe space, right?
Yeah.
Did you
Okay.
find it?
Yeah, I had to change it to a PDF.
Oh.
I'm like reading all these instructions. All right, share screen slide. Upload file. Let's see. Here we go. There they are.
Mm, cute.
So there she is now. And I mean, that's hope for all of us. It's like that's what it should be. And she was saying he's come here. I don't know if it's once or twice, but he's been here. And she was saying that she's gotten more support from him all the way over there in Prague than from any guy that she's ever known here.
Yeah.
So there they are, beautiful couple.
No.
Oh, yeah.
I'm next.
Yes. Well, one of us.
One of
I'll be virtually catching her bouquet.
I don't know. I'm not in any hurry. I'm just like I'm enjoying being single, so I'm just like,
Well, I've been single for a long time.
yeah, I know. Okay, you next, Brenda.
But yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice. But I mean, I'm having fun. All the men that I go out with are gentlemen. I don't because I know how I feel, and my intuition is very, very attuned.
Yeah.
So I don't go out with any jerks at all.
Mm. No,
And I
I
get
am the same. I can see him a mile away now. Like just the way the initial interaction of communication. I'm like, no, this person is not. This is not the one. But it's amazing how where in the past I would entertain some of that kind of, off communication where you would just kind of be like, oh, well, let's see how it goes. And now I'm like, I cut it off so quick. I'm like, no.
yeah, no patience for it. It's just like, ugh.
No, I try to be a little open and just be like, I might say something. I mean, hold up my boundary and be just like, what did you mean by that? Like if it's a like offhanded comment. And a lot of times they'll be like, oh, that's just
Sometimes they're
joking. But I'm
clueless.
like, I'm like, the kind of sarcasm and like little jabs, like microaggressions, I don't put up with that anymore. I'm like, no,
No.
I don't. That does not feel respectful to me.
No.
And oh, I know, yeah, you know how you want to be treated. And if you're not, then yeah, that person's out. Next. Out the door, dude, because I know I'm awesome.
So are you
And
doing anything tonight?
you know what? I'm not. I maybe just some reflecting, setting some intentions. I hear some fireworks going off, but I live kind of out in the country, so
Mhm.
there isn't a lot of like commotion. Hang out with my kids some and yeah, just have enjoy the evening. So I don't like traveling on New Year's Eve. It's too scary out there with the amount of drunk drivers and things like that. So but I'll be
Yeah.
dancing in a few weeks, so I have plans for that.
Yay! Yay!
Or maybe that's next weekend. Anyways, but so yeah. How about you? In the heart of down.
Yeah, I know. I wasn't gonna do anything, but I'm feeling like going out for like one glass of wine.
Yeah, I think you should. That'd be nice.
All I have to do is hop on a bicycle or walk to the
Yeah,
corner.
all right. That's so awesome.
Yeah,
So
so
that's what I'm gonna be doing. Just chilling.
alrighty.
Writing down my my boundaries. So let's repeat. You said so when you go through something, you said like write down what you
Yeah, write down what happened.
what happened.
So
Okay.
you can like remember what happened. Just what happened.
Okay,
Number
so like
one.
my date the other day, like what happened? He kind of communication wasn't aligning and I was like, I don't know what's going on here, dude. You told me to meet you here in 20 minutes and now you're like it's I don't know. You're not available. Like what's going on? So
Yeah,
yeah,
or he
I
said
don't
he
wanna
was
feel
gonna do this and
yeah,
did
words and
that.
actions not aligning. So,
Exactly. And then how did it make me feel?
yeah. It made me feel annoyed. To be honest, I didn't feel sad because I was just like, I'm just gonna enjoy my night. I went to that bar and had a drink
Yeah.
and some food and talked to a couple of other guys that were hanging out there.
Yeah. But this is really helpful for someone that's never done anything like this before to,
Yes.
because feeling confused, being left feeling confused is such a familiar feeling for so many women that they're
Yes.
just start trying to
Oh, well, you
justify
remember
it.
me just even like last year, like a year and a half ago, like I was always confused. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I try to talk to this person and they're just like, everything's fine. And I'm like, well, I don't feel fine. I'm super confused. And I love you and I want to make this work, but like, I'm not sure what's going on here. And just, yeah, constant state of confusion. But I stayed and stayed and stayed because I wanted it.
And
I didn't want to,
sadness.
yeah, I was sad. I was wanted it to work. I was trying and I was in my masculine so much because I was like, I'm trying to make this work. Where I'm just like, I should have just been like, hey, this is how I feel. The end. Like this is,
Yeah.
this is how I feel. Like that just
Well,
feel good.
you know, it's easy for us to say now.
Yeah. Well, exactly. So, but I totally get that.
Yeah. So yeah, do that. How did it make you feel? And if you're feeling bad, if you can't figure it out like in the first incident, if something happens again, it's not supposed to keep feeling bad. He's supposed to be making you happy. He's supposed to be trying to impress you.
Yeah.
He's not supposed to be confusing you.
No, definitely not. I think if a
And
man
then
really is pursuing you and making the relationship work, you're not going to feel confused. You're going to be like, oh, this person's really stepping up. And like you can see it and you can feel it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's that. And the forgiveness. And I recommend everyone to read The Mastery of Self. And if that's really hard to do alone, send me a message. We can talk about, working with a guide to guide you through it, because it's not easy when you're constantly being triggered.
No, it's not.
You know,
You help me.
Angela is a coach now. You can also you can find her on the Facebook post here. If you resonate with her energy, I'm sure she'd be happy to speak with you as well.
Yeah, I've been there. I've been through it. I climbed that mountain.
Yeah. Yeah. And came
Came
out
through.
the other side.
Now
So,
I'm gonna be climbing another mountain here, so.
good. Well, you look cute. I like your
Thanks.
braids.
No, braids tonight.
And thanks for coming
Yeah,
on.
thanks for inviting me.
Yes, you're welcome. And Happy New Year. I am gonna go have one glass of wine and
Yay.
then
I love a
come
glass of
back.
wine. Well, cheers to you.
And yeah, Happy New Year, everybody. And I will see you all soon. Love you, Angela.
Bye.
Bye.